Hey everyone, welcome to the Difference Maker Revolution podcast. And for this episode, we are Ronanless and Janine-less, but we have Brad, Steve, and Jono. So, Brad, what are we talking about today?
We had a lengthy discussion and went through a lot of, sometimes when we film this podcast, something is really easy to talk about because some things burning in one of us deep inside and we just have to talk about it. This time, we looked at a list of podcast ideas, decided to do none of them, hit record and see what happened. But generally, doing some recent calls, especially our most recent impact call, I think that's been coming up that I've seen an awful lot of is I was about to say people complaining about spending money on marketing. Well, it's not even spending money; it's wasting money. Um, and I suppose for me, it's the definition change of you're not actually spending money or wasting money; you're investing money. And marketing requires a certain amount of investment. Marketing is all geared around creating clients. We believe great clients are made, not found. So you have to go out there and you got to give people a reason to give you their contact details, to put their hands up and say, please get in contact with me. That is an investment. So within Impact, we give you the skills and teach you how to do that. So you can do that digitally, on Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, whatever platform you run ads on, we can teach you how to run ads effectively using strategies that myself and Jonathan have built up over a decade. But it is that mindset shift that is really important because you're not spending money, you're investing money. And sometimes you might invest a certain amount of cash and get no return for it. And you have to understand that that's all part of the process. That marketing does take time. There is no silver bullet. The process does work, but you have to stick to it. And sometimes the problem you have isn't just it doesn't just come to you straight away.
But when we run an ad, shouldn't every dollar we spend, every potential client we generate, shouldn't they just automatically want to book?
You'd love it if they did. Yeah, no, it'd be fantastic if they did, but I actually don't know the statistic for it. Isn't this something ridiculous that only like 15% of people are ready to take action right now? It's why it's why we encourage people to build pipelines and have email follow-up and have multiple phone calls, because it is very unlikely you're going to phone somebody from a lead straight away. You have an amazing conversation, they're going to book. What's more likely is you're going to get a whole load of leads in, you're going to phone a lot, no one's going to pick up, you're going to get disheartened and never pick the phone up again. But you have to get over that. You have to battle through that disappointment of not getting hold of anybody. And being on the phone, I know what it's like to gear yourself up to make phone calls, to get into the, I suppose the communication part of your brain to actually have these phone calls. And then you make them all and nobody picks up. I know that feeling of disheartening. I felt it myself, but you have to persevere, because if you don't, nobody else will. And you're not going to get any bookings. You're not going to be able to have the opportunity to change somebody's life and get rewarded for it.
But half that issue is that you need to have some repetition in there. And I think a lot of people will make a whole heap of phone calls in a day or spend an hour or so haphazardly making phone calls and then not revisit it for another week or 4 or 5 days. And then the result is that they've made another lot of phone calls without any bookings or nobody picking up. There needs to be a time set aside. If you're going to invest money in marketing, there needs to be that time set aside where you can make phone calls. And, my experience has been that if you are doing it 3 days in a row, at least 3 days in a row, then you're going to start to see some bookings. But I kind of feel like a lot of people are leaving whatever spare time they have, if they get around to it, after they've invested their money or spent their money or wasted their money, whatever that is. But the time isn't planned, and they're not choosing a time of day. They're not allowing 3 days in a row to get hold of people, because it's that repetition that builds up the momentum.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key, and I think intention is key too, because there are people that when they get a bunch of leads, their mindset is to get through the leads. And there are other people whose intention is to make somebody's day and get bookings. Or there's that other person that I'm desperate for money. I need bums on seats. Right? So the people that are burning through leads tend to make lots of phone calls, but not lots of bookings. The people that are desperately need bums on seats tend to get some bookings, but get lots of no-shows or no spends because they're so focused on the money. And then the people who want to make somebody's day and as a result get a booking seem to do better than the other two. But I don't know, what's been your experience?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You have to be hungry but not starving.
Or appear starving.
People pick up on starving. Yeah. People pick up on starving, and you might be in a situation where you actually might be starving, but you have to not appear it.
I know expos aren't a big thing anymore, but when we used to do expos, and I don't see an expo as any different to any form of marketing. You'd book an expo and there'd be 12 photographers at the same expo as you. And you hear most of them say, oh my God, it was dead. What a crap expo. But we'd walk away with, 50, 60 bookings. And it's about how active you are, how excited you are, and your intention when you go there. I think a lot of people see marketing as a branding exercise to get my name out there. And I hear that a lot. I've just got to get my name out there. But people need an offer. People need a reason. People want somebody to excite them about coming in. So that's important.
So we've spoken about that extensively, Brad, haven't we? Look, we've spoken about offers. And photographers are scared. So I can't curse in the podcast. Photographers are scared SH1T-less of offers because they think offers, quote unquote, devalue their brand. But Steve's just talked about running offers at expos. We've talked about offers. Like, what is this whole thing that photographers have about not being afraid to run an offer?
Oh, it's insecurity and fear. And I can say that because I've been insecure and fear because I've not wanted to run offers in my own business because I thought it would devalue my brand. It's only when you can zoom out of that and you know more, you don't know what you don't know, is that when you take a real step back from this whole idea of brand in photography, it's all centered around insecurities. And we just want to deal with people who have money, who can spend. We don't have to sell to, so then we don't need to learn selling skills. And then we don't sell either, so that we don't feel slimy when we sell to people. Not that you should feel slimy when you sell to people, or that you have to market, or you have to market your business and actually have all these conversations. Hiding behind brand makes it easier. We all want that. Like, I'd love that. If I could magic up a brand that people just came to and spent, we would all love that. But the reality is that brands like that command that position have been around decades, a lot of time, and make substantially far more money than we do, and have the marketing budgets to show for it.
So you were saying before that a lot of people have a fear that if they have an offer, it dilutes their brand. But isn't the brand built on the level of interest it gets? And most studios were doing 130,000 a month, and we always had offers running.
Your brand is ultimately the interaction between business and client.
But most clients don't even see the brand. That's what I found. They don't see the brand.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. They don't see it. The brand is just the interaction. realistically, for businesses of our level, which are like sub 10 million turnover, 20 million turnover, that are run by a couple of people or a small team.
Yeah, we had a we had a photographer, not even in our local area, but he would run TV ads, and I would love it because the minute he ran TV ads, we used to get busy, and it was a completely different brand, looked nothing like our studio, nothing like he was, nothing like what we did, and yet we had droves of people coming in or calling us, believing that we were that brand, and we would book people from his TV ads, and the people were like calling me his name, thinking that I was that, looked nothing like him, convinced that they booked that brand. And I just don't believe people see a brand at all. They thought they were booking whatever. I'm not going to say who it is, but I was just delighted every time he ran those ads. It was incredible what it did for us.
No, rising tides lift all boats, and we've been, I remember being like, I don't know, 12 years old, sat on the floor watching TV, and an ad for Venture came on, which were photographic studios in the UK.
Surely you were 5, Bradley.
Maybe. It's a while ago. I might have been younger because it was at the old house. I might have been 8, 9, 10. I was a youth. I can remember seeing the ad, and I know my parents ran a photographic studio. I know it wasn't that. And I can remember being mad or being upset. I can remember voicing that opinion to my dad. My dad just said the same thing that you said. He was always happy when they ran ads because it meant he was going to make more money, and he did. It like Venture was a wonderful thing for the UK photographic industry. Is that it made family photography especially something that more people were aware of. And when people are aware of something, they want it. That's all marketing is trying to do. It's all we're doing on digital marketing now. Just trying to make people aware of problems that they never even knew they had, and then help them move towards a solution. But even in digital marketing, like I've been running ads for a decade. I will get people phone us that have seen an ad that I've never run, or I get people commenting on my ads saying they've been to the studio and have had a wonderful time. And the studio's in Leeds. We're not in Leeds. We're in Barnsley. They've gone somewhere else and just think boudoir's boudoir. And I've had the opposite of that. I've had people say, "Don't go here. They're terrible." I went to their studio in Wakefield, and it's like, well, we're not there. You've got us mixed up. So like, both ends of that spectrum of really happy and really mad, people just associate photographer with photography.
So on that point, right? So do you feel like a lot of people don't understand the purpose of marketing? Because I feel like a lot of photographers who we coach and mentor and train, feel like they run an ad, and I think internally they still feel it's about them, and that by running this ad, people should see this ad and desire them and want to book them. So whereas the function of marketing is to bring awareness to people about, obviously your ad copy has to be tailored to your ideal client avatar and speak to them and use their language and, attract them in and turn them into potential clients by getting them to raise their hands. And it's your job as the photographer to call these people not only once. So yeah, call 10 potential clients on day 1, nobody answers. Call them again on day 2. Call them again on day 3. Send texts, send emails, leave voicemails. But I feel like a lot of photographers think that by just running their ads and by someone filling out the form, that they are almost expect that means that the potential client wants them and that they should just book. They don't realize they actually have to have conversations with these people, discover what's important to them, why now is the perfect time, what they want to celebrate, and create that quality client. I feel like it's still flipped. It's still making it about them in their marketing. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's hard to get out of it. Well, I say hard. I went through the exact same thing. If I'm really upset that my Facebook ad account got disabled, and then when I got it back, they got rid of all my old data. So I've only got from 2018. But if we could go back to 2013 and look at the ad copy of some of those first ads I ever ran, it was all, the ads were wrote terribly, like really bad. It was all about us as a business and why they should book us and how amazing we were. And about, you know, how amazing this offer is. Nothing really about problem. We're not helping the client achieve anything. It's all very selfish. And in those early days, those ads worked because I was the only person advertising photography on Facebook at that time in my local area. Nobody was doing it. So even when it's really, really bad, when you're the only person doing it, you'll still make money. But as time went on and that advertising space got more and more competitive, those ads just didn't work, and naturally they just changed over time. And we get members. We've had members for years. I love them, but like they've been members with us for 4 years since the start, and they'll come and they'll show us ad copy. And it's like, come on, like we've told you not to run this many times. We know it's not going to work, but they want to run it because I think it's that hope of not that we're wrong, but that their way might work this time.
I think sometimes too they go to conferences and stuff, and there's so many people, every room somebody's telling them something else, and it just gets confusing. A lot of the times it's finding your style, and if you find your style, people will come to you because of your style or whatever that is. And so people start to get confused as to what works and what they should be focused on. So I think a lot of it's to do with that too. They're just, whatever they're doing isn't working, so they're trying something different, and seems like they're reverting back to old habits when that when that happens.
Yeah, they're obsessed with the idea of that. Is the reason why they're booking is because of the style of photography, isn't it? And when we introduced the yellow box for the Facebook ads, and guys, for those of you who don't know what the yellow box is,
it's got a lot of style.
It has a lot of style, a lot of ugly style. So the yellow box is the ugliest thing you will ever see in your life. It's amazing. It's a yellow square box with text written on it. And you use that in your ad to stop the scroll. And it works tremendously well for photographers and photography businesses to generate potential clients. And there's not even a photo in there. We've had members who have used exclusively just the yellow box or a different color box without ever showing a photograph of theirs, and booking people in, creating quality clients.
Come on, Jono, how can that possibly work? No photo. That's insane.
In fairness, when I first pitched the idea of the yellow box, it's not my idea. Like, loads of marketers use it out there in the world. Like, Janine freaked out. I think Brad was more open to it because Brad knows digital marketing. But at the time, Brad wasn't. Janine just completely freaked.
Janine didn't like it. You sent it me, and I went, I just forwarded that onto Ruth and said, Ruth, make this. She made it, and I ran an ad that weekend, and the ad went very, very well. So yeah, it's trial and error. And as wearing a marketing hat, I can do that really, really easily. For our members, it could be quite painful for them because a lot of them put a lot of time and effort into their work and into becoming master photographers, and then for some terrible box with red writing with a yellow background, beats everything they've ever created in stopping people scroll. I can understand it gets a bit disheartening, but it's all about the end result.
So coming back to what we talked about at the beginning, Brad, you talked about investing dollars, and I think in a particular example, someone has spent quite a bit of money and generated loads of leads, but they only had 8 discovery calls. So, what do you think is happening there?
Well, just on the off hand, you just need to call more. I've said that many, many, many times, is you just need to call more. It's like what Steve said earlier. You have to make it consistent. You can't just call once and then get disheartened by it and never call again. You have to phone people multiple times, 5, 6, 7 times to each of these leads before you put them into a long-term nurture. You have to call. And you have to call at regular times, every day. You can't miss a day. When you build that habit, it's habits and discipline. If you can build the habit, you have the discipline to do it, you will see results.
But a lot of it, I think, has to do with the fear of the phone as well, Brad. Because people do fear the phone, they'll find everything else. My pencil needs sharpening. I'm going to quickly wash the dishes before I start making a call, even though we hate washing the dishes. And there's all of the things that delay, and before you know it, the day's gone and no calls have been made. Or we haven't started making calls until 4 o'clock, which doesn't give the client any opportunity to call back during working hours. And so there's no immediacy for them that, by the time they get to it, they've forgotten you. And we've left too much time. But then there's, the people that have been generating leads for a long time, and then think they don't have any leads. And, I've walked into businesses and they haven't had any leads. And I said, well, pull up your old ones. And we've called leads that were generated a year and a half ago and made bookings. I think it's important it's the way that you address it. It's the way that you do it more than anything else.
I was just going to say that really weird sentence to say, but I accidentally signed up for laser eye surgery.
How do you accidentally sign up for surgery?
Well, I was on my phone. I was looking at booking an optician's appointment, and I ended up accidentally signing up to request information for laser eye surgery. Not that I need it, but I signed up for it, and I was in the car. Me and my dad were heading to Newcastle. We're going to go see a comedian. And in the car on the way up, it was like 8:30 at night. I filled this form in. Within 15 minutes, I had the first phone call. An hour later, I had the second phone call. I'm like, oh, I know who it is. So I just dodged the calls, thinking that if I dodge it, it'll go away. I don't have to have that weird conversation where I went, yeah, I accidentally filled this form out. Which is really funny because I've had clients tell me they've accidentally filled forms out. I'm like, oh, have you accidentally filled this form out?
How do you accidentally fill out a form?
I did. I did.
What did you think you were completing? Like, what was it? What did you think it was for?
It was Specsavers, and I thought Specsavers. I thought I was booking in. Thought I had to fill the form out to gain access to their online calendar to then book in my optician's appointment to have my eye test. But I realised that no, I'd booked in. I'd filled the form out to request, corrective vision surgery instead. But my point is they phoned me like 15 times within a week. They were pretty relentless. They always called. And then they started phoning me after that first week. They started phoning me weekly. And I still get their phone calls, and I've got it messaged in my phone saying laser eye surgery. So I know when it's them, and I can just turn it off. But yeah, no, I you have to be consistent. That's a really great example of a business being consistent in trying to get hold of me. Because I fill the lead out, I put my hand up, that they're fulfilling their part of that bargain. It doesn't irritate me when they call. It always reminds me of the fact that I filled the form.
Does it irritate you that you're still wearing glasses?
Oh, these are just this is more like a fashion statement.
There are what?
My vision's wonderful, Steve. I said a fashion statement. These glasses block out blue light. I spend a tremendous amount of time on a computer and in front of screens. So I bought these glasses years ago to just block out some of that light. I have no idea if they work. The studies are still out on it, but I do it anyway.
Well, I've got to say, Brad, your eyes do look bluer since you've started wearing them.
Everybody with blue eyes shares a common ancestor. It's a mutation. Blue's not actually a colour. It's actually a mutation in the eye and the pigment.
Anyway, while we're all learning about mutations as well as marketing on this podcast, you mentioned something there about calling old leads, Steve. And I believe that, did you have a conversation with Janine recently where Janine reached out to potential clients she had generated several months ago and made 4 bookings or something? Or did I dream that?
No, you didn't dream that. I did bring up that example where we called leads up that were old, and she gave Betsy some leads and didn't tell her that they were old leads. and her booking rate, I think she made 4 bookings that day from those leads. So it's great to see that what we're doing, we're practicing and proving to be, to be correct. So, I don't think leads get old. Yes, the fresher ones, if you're replying immediately, are going to be easier to book, but the value of your older leads are still valuable. So, yeah, it was great. Great to hear that she got some bookings.
Right. So let me ask you, gents, this question. So if we generate, 50 leads or potential clients, as we like to call them now, we generate 50 potential clients and we only speak to, I don't know, like 15 of them. I feel like there's an expectation that every potential client we generate, they're like, why aren't they answering me? Why aren't they responding? How do we mentally adjust?
But I think if your mind is, I've got to get through these leads, and these are leads, and all they're seeing is a job to do rather than getting excited about finding out about somebody, then that's a very different thing.
So as a frame in the mindset, Brad, because you mentioned that, you might you've had that experience where you have a list of leads and you call them, make 10 calls, nobody answers, and you feel deflated. That's natural, right? So how do you pick yourself up? How do you reframe the mindset?
Have a break, come back to it. Have an interrupting pattern where you can go do something else for a few minutes and refocus and then pick the phone up again and make some more calls. Steve's right. Intention is everything. You have to have the right intention, and you have to have the discipline and the habit to continue to do something. And then how you feel is how you feel. It's okay to be disappointed when you've made 15 phone calls, so nobody's answered. But stop, go for a walk, or go do something else, and then come back to it in an hour and make another 15 phone calls and see what happens.
And that pattern interrupt's really important that Bradley talked about, is to change the environment, change your state, but you've got to come back with a changed intention. And if you're dreading the calls and you come back after a break dreading the calls, then nothing's ever going to change. So that pattern interrupt has got to create a change of state for you. And we had on our inner circle call, Dwayne shared a call and was, struggling to book people. And it was like what Bradley was saying, that something happened during the week and life gets in the way, and he wasn't in the right state of mind to be making calls. It didn't sound like him at all on that call. So we've got to have that realization that we're not giving our clients the best version of ourselves right now. And for our clients' sake, we have to take a break.
So, gents, before we close off this podcast and let people know the exciting special news that we have for them, any final things to add on? We kind of discussed what marketing, calls, mindset today. The magic 3. I was going to say 3 M's, but calls doesn't begin with M. But
I think we need to see every bit of our marketing as an opportunity to reach somebody and make somebody's day and get excited about that. Having a storefront, I know that all my team had the same opportunities every day to walk up to somebody and make their day, or greet somebody and make their day. But it was consistently the same 1 or 2 people out of 5 that got all the bookings. And they were the ones that were excited about meeting somebody new and discovering everything about them. Whereas the people that never got any booking saw it as a chore. And it's mindset and how you approach that is everything.
All right, guys. So if you want to discover the mindset, the strategies, the tactics to start running successful Facebook ads for your business, to start generating potential clients almost overnight, to use proven templates, proven formula that have been tested, tried and proven in the real world, and how to create quality clients by delivering a discovery call experience. All you need to do is click the link below, sign up for the free 30-day trial. Free 30-day trial of Difference Maker Impact, where you can get access to not only the training, but the software to help fast track your success, the Facebook community to help you overcome challenges, and a weekly call with the 5 Difference Maker Revolution mentors to help you get there. How awesome is that?
Brilliant, Jono.
All right, so from all of us here on the Difference Maker Revolution podcast, that's it for this episode. We'll see you on next week's, and in Impact. Bye for now.